Friday. Matt St. Jean's here with an update on the Dogs and the Rebs.
Craig, talk about polar opposites for games this weekend. A shootout in Oxford, a defensive battle in Lexington. But let's talk about the positive news first. The Ole Miss Rebels remained undefeated over the weekend with a win over Auburn and an epic day on the ground. It was their first win against Auburn since 2015. And they had 3 players with over 100 yards rushing, including this gentleman, Quinshon Judkins. Zach Evans also hit 100 yards, and so did Jackson Dart. The two teams combined for nearly 800 yards rushing. It was quite the display, and now the attention turns to LSU. Yeah, the rushing offense was great, but as I mentioned, 800 yards rushing between the two teams. That means the Ole Miss defense for the second week in a row just wasn't great. They came up big, though, when it mattered, but overall, back-to-back weeks where the offense really bailed out the defense. Something that probably won't fly in the Bayou against an underrated LSU team, which has won 5 of their last 6, and the only loss was to Tennessee. And we now know how good those Vols are. Similar to Auburn, LSU's Jaden Daniels is a dual-threat quarterback. He leads the team in rushing, but he's a much better passer than what they saw on Saturday, which puts pressure on this Ole Miss defense to get it right this week.
We just got to stay focused and play each play and do your job. And, like you said, a lot of teams have performed not very well there. They've got a great winning record over the years there. Their crowd understands football and is into it as much as any place that you go. So, played some really challenging games there.
Meanwhile, it was not a successful road trip to Lexington for Mississippi State. After nearly cracking the top 15, the Bulldogs laid an egg against the Wildcats. Now State is staring down the barrel of another road game, this time in Tuscaloosa against an angry Alabama Crimson Tide. During Nick Saban's tenure, Alabama has only lost back-to-back regular season games once, in his very first season in 2007, which coincidentally was thanks to Mississippi State. They beat them after Alabama lost to LSU that year. The year before that was the last time State won in Tuscaloosa, which means that State has lost to Alabama 14 times in a row. And in the first 2 years under Leach, Bama has outscored the Dogs 80-9. But Tennessee did score 5 passing touchdowns on Saturday, so are they vulnerable? Maybe. But Leach wants the Dogs to just focus on themselves.
If they're sitting there looking at that and paying attention to that, they're looking at the wrong thing. They need to be looking at themselves and how well they're playing, competing with themselves and playing the best that they could play. They can only control the guy in their uniform. They can't control the guy in the other uniform. They got to focus on themselves.
Sammy and I will have team coverage from Tuscaloosa on Saturday. If you're a State fan and you're tailgating, we want to come visit you. If you're from Northeast Mississippi and you're an Alabama fan and you're tailgating, we want to hear from you as well. All right, that's it for sports. Back to you.